Alrighty guys, welcome back to our Into the Alpha X Trovo series. We are here for the finals between these two lovely players. Akontistes, why don't you go ahead and introduce our first lovely player here?
Alright. We're here in the top right hand corner, where the blue Zerg is currently spawning, calling for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is Rogue.
And spawn here at the bottom left corner of the map. Playing for the team of Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Same teammate, guys. He's our red Protoss player. He is ZEST. Alright, so we're going to have ourselves another team kill.
Yep. Well, 3 Dragon Phoenix Gaming players. That's lucky for us, having the possibility to cast those guys.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the strongest team, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say Team NV is slightly stronger, but not by a far margin. Team NV just has so many players. And they're actually popping off in the WTL, so.
Yeah, they're doing really well there. But yeah, can't go wrong with Rogue and ZEST in your team
Absolutely.
roster. So
Yeah, Rogue, ZEST, and Dark. So yeah. I think Dark was the first player to join Dragon Phoenix Gaming as well.
oh, so I guess one of their older, long-lasting
Yep.
players.
After being one of those players who didn't really love being in a team for a very long time. Alright, it's some Stargate here. Well, what were you saying, sorry?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, speaking of long-term, I think the longest, team-to-player partnership that I know of right now is Hero Marine. Wait, is it Hero Marine? I think it was Hero Marine with Mouse Esports. I think he signed with them
so.
like 2011 and has been with them since then. So, wait, is it Hero Marine or is someone else? I think it was Hero Marine.
I have no idea.
Snook of Death.
I also know that Mana has been in Team Liquid for an incredible long time. For like 6 years, 7 years, something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay, Invictus Gaming players as well. And Mana, 2 more years. Okay. Well, Mana's with Team Liquid right now, right? So
Yeah.
So it hasn't been too long, but Rogue was 10 years into Junior. Okay. No, I mean like current players, like currently with their team, with their current teams. I think Mouse Esports with Hero Marine might be the longest one currently right now. That's still standing.
There's also like several, like 5 years in ends.
Oh yeah, 5 years. That's pretty long.
I started playing in 2016, I feel. Maybe it's even 6 years. I don't know. It's been a long while, nonetheless.
Yeah.
Alright. What do we have here? Oracles, Adepts, Roaches, just your average PvZ going on between 2 of the best players that ever touched this game.
Oh, but it's
But you
interesting.
know what? It's not like ZEST dealt a lot of damage. It was not really too much with 3 Oracles this far.
Yeah. Usually you will see like maybe 1 or 2 Oracles, but 3 Oracles is much of a bigger commitment and not getting as much done, it feels like. 9 drones, okay, yeah, maybe, it's starting to add up. I mean, at least the Oracles are still alive, so they can still gather up energy for stasis wards and pulsar beams and revelations.
look at how much dead airspace this map has. That's pretty insane. They should fix it. Honestly, it's a little bit too much. It's so safe to go for air on this map. Like, yeah, like right now you cannot escape. That's something a little bit tricky. Oh, that Oracle! My goodness. 4 health.
Ooh. Just gets out with the skin of his teeth.
He still survives. Like, this is a stats style with a starport into Twilight with a triple Oracle, which is very versatile.
Yeah,
and getting a lot of damage. It's just on the side mostly.
Yeah, and again, the most important thing is that it's still alive. So, I mean, there is going to be a kind of the thing on the back of Rogue's head is that if he wants to make a push, there's a possibility that it's going to be a lot of stasis traps that are going to be placed down here on Zest's side of the base. So, he's going to have to think twice before pushing in. At the very least, he needs an overseer to scout those stasis traps.
Yeah. But like, there's a lot of threat power in the hands of Zest, as you were saying, and a lot of vision control as well. Beautiful force fields here, locking one of the Ravagers out with the Stalkers in the depths, getting a lot of damage done. It's a lot of energy used by those sentries, but still fairly decent trade for Zest nonetheless. Meanwhile, Rogue, that's an interestingly fast hive.
Ooh, I think we should see a Lurker Den being thrown down soon. He does have the Hydralisk Den already, so yeah, it looks like we're heading into a Lurker Roach kind of composition here for our Blue Zerg player.
Yeah, it looks like Zest is minding these very carefully, denying also a couple guess when he can. And right now he's setting up a huge bowl here on the left. He doesn't want Rogue to safely get into Hive this quickly. And you know what? I don't think Rogue has a lot of stuff to defend this. That's a lot of energy on those sentries.
Yeah, actually, you know, Zest is attacking at a really great timing because Rogue is trying to tech up to Lurker Tech. So he doesn't quite have not a lot of units, and now he's going to go ahead and force Rogue to make 10 roaches. All these resources could have been used for those lurkers.
Stasis ward. My goodness. All those lanes getting locked. And you know what? They also act like a wall for these units to stand behind. And that's actually nuts. For Zest, warping in even more units, zoning Rogue out of this position. And it's now time to deal with the remaining Zerglings. Trying to get on the sentry, but they just can't. So many force fields getting on top of everything. Ravagers in very high numbers. They're gonna get on top of the Immortals. Oracles on the right, gonna be focused down by the Queens. A huge fight with both players losing so much, but Rogue getting the short stick out of this trade.
Yeah, but look at this. All the sentries are pretty much out of energy. So right now, Zest is gonna have to make do with all these Blink Stalkers. And, you know, those roaches are beefy. If those corrosive bows lands on one of them, one of those, you know, grouped up stalkers, then that could spell disastrous. But Zest, I expect, you know, great micro from him. We'll go ahead and try to get as much efficient trades with these Blink Stalkers.
I do feel like Zest does not understand how much more army he has right now. I think he's not reading this correctly. Like, you would have probably had to go all in with a more aggressive Blink forward before now. Now he has some Zealots in, but they do not have charge. Gonna take a lot of damage, but not much more than that. Beautiful Guardian Shield to keep a lot of these units alive. And that's a huge concave set up by Zest, getting 12 drones, getting a lot of damage down. Stalkers on all sides, and now the Lurkers even focused down by the Zealots without charge. Beautiful Revelations are gonna get all of these Lurkers visible. It's now time to blink forward and focus them down before the Revelation warns out. And you know what? It was exactly what Zest needed. First game goes in his hands, and Rogue a little bit too greedy with his play. And here in the bottom right hand corner instead, the player losing the first game of this series from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Can he tie up the score? It is Rogue.
And on our left top side, our beautiful red Protoss from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Make some noise for ZEST.
It's just so beautiful to see ZEST play an aggressive playstyle. It's just so much stronger with those kind of plays.
Yeah, and it's such an opposite type of game compared to the Rogue versus Keen series, because Keen was so defensive, didn't really move out, allowed Rogue to spread that creep like wildfire, and you see that last game, and it's complete opposite. ZEST was much more aggressive compared to Keen, was able to snipe out those creep tumors and recede it, didn't let it get out of hand, and was able to make a timing attack that did punish Rogue for going such a quick tech route with the Hive and the Lurker tech, and it worked out really well for ZEST.
Yeah. I still really feel like going for an early Hive against 3 Oracles, like, there is no way it's not going to be scouted. There is no way ZEST is not going to know always what is the exact amount of units you have. And just taking this kind of 50-50s, I don't know how to call it, against a player such as ZEST, it doesn't really pay off most of the times. It was an awkward play on the side of Rogue, especially considering how many times these two players have played against each other.
Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna see a possibly another, I would expect it, like probably the same opening, right? With the Stargate tech from ZEST. I mean, it worked out nicely for him the last game. Now, I'm not sure if it's gonna be 3 Oracles again. It might be maybe a Void Ray instead.
Yeah, it might be Void Ray. Like, this is Romanticide. It's just so incredibly good to get some defensive air units in the early game. Getting any air units is just great on this map. Wouldn't be surprised with any of the choices, really.
And it's kind of funny to kind of think about how like this the Void Ray, the mass Void Ray build from Protoss against Zerg players. Like, Zerg players found it so incredibly impossible to win against it, and then over the the months, slowly but surely, it seems like kind of Zerg has finally settled on a good solid counter to it, which is kind of making sure you have a Roach Mass Queen kind of push with Ravagers included as well, and go for like this huge timing scary push where the Queens will deal with the Void Rays, maybe some Corrosive Bowels as well on the Void Rays, and then the Roaches does so much damage because there's not going to be a lot of ground units for the Protoss. It's going to be mainly in Void Rays, and while they're like preoccupied with the Queens, the Roaches can kind of go in and deal significant damage to the economy line. And I think the Zerg players have kind of settled on that kind of counter.
And the most fun thing about it, in my mind, is that it's exactly the same way that most Zerg players tend to react against battlecruiser play, which had the same thing. Battlecruisers were buffed and then became incredibly obnoxious to deal with for Zerg players, to the point like Zerg players were losing all around the board against the cruiser rush. And then they started to do just Roach and Queens and win games. And it is exactly what happened with the Void Rays.
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, that's actually pretty similar.
You know what? Talking about rushes, that's a fairly early flip big.
Wow.
Yeah, ZEST is starting to just skip tech all over the place. Such a unique player.
Now, do you think this is going to be for, Void Rays, mass Void Rays with Void Ray speed, or the newer kind of meta is with Tempest, like a Tempest opening? Like, maybe you open up like, I think
a
like,
number of things.
Huh?
It might be a number of things. Like, I do not necessarily see even like getting like to 6 Void Rays and then just pumping out a lot of carriers. I don't really think that's a bad idea. Yeah,
wow.
He's going into carriers with just 1 Void Ray. That's a little bit risky, but
yeah.
I still feel like carrier rushes are totally fine, especially in Romanticide.
Yeah,
It's really a build that's ugly underestimated.
Yeah, for sure. So much options nowadays for Protoss. Again, it could be the Void Rays into Void Ray speed as well. It could be Tempest, and then of course, like, as you mentioned, carriers, carrier rush here, and I don't think Rogue has scouted this yet. I think he's starting to make an overseas to go in and scout it. But yeah, he's pretty much in the dark for the time being, as yet scouted the carrier move out, and ooh, the carriers are moving in the pathway that is going to actually bypass the scouting link. Oh, okay, never mind. This link does make its way.
Yeah, beautiful positioning by Rogue, but I don't feel like ZEST does really care about it. He was looking to deal damage with the initial carriers anyway, and that is exactly what he's doing, pushing creep back, forcing these queens to use a lot of energy. But you know what, that's how many queens is that? It's 10 queens. My goodness, that's a lot of queens.
Yeah, that's more than enough to deal with these two initial carriers.
Yeah, Rogue can easily play this slowly. A Spire, I was expecting most like an Hydra then into an Infestation Pit. I'm not really sure about the Spire. I guess it's a good choice because there are not a lot of Void Rays out. So that is actually a good choice. But this Robo transition by ZEST actually scares me a fair amount. And it's 2 Void Rays immediately after. That's a good prediction by ZEST.
Yeah, I love this because yeah, the Void Rays are going to deal with the Corruptors, and then what's left? It's basically the Queens. And what can you kill Queens very, very quickly? Disruptors. Just mass disruptors. Just throw disruptors into the Queens and have the splash damage. Because it's really hard to split with Queens. Queens not the fastest of units, so you can't really do the split as well compared to, let's say, Bio units or maybe even Roaches. But yeah, that is a nice kind of follow-up here for ZEST.
And the same can be said about Storms and Feedback. Together, High Templars very strong against Queens altogether. Like, all of their spells are really high value against Queens. So that's a beautiful play by ZEST. I do have some fear about Rogue not really being checked right now. He's getting a hive, he's getting a 5th base, he's getting a lot of quick spread. ZEST just now dropping down a 4th base. Rogue might get over control.
Yeah, I mean, once like the Protoss establishes that 4th and 5th base, they're gonna have a lot of Vespene geysers to mine off of them. And once the Protoss get so much gas, that air tech becomes extremely scary. I mean, we're not talking about just a bunch of Void Rays and carries, but also the upgrades. +1 is the battle finish for on the cybernetic core, and once you get +2, each carry or each interceptors are gonna get such a massive boost in that weapons upgrade.
Yeah. A great Aspire incoming. Yeah, with Infestors upgrades behind this, is going to be some kind of Broodlords Infestor. Late game Zerg army with a Spore Crawler spread all around. Rogue bought himself a lot of time with careful quick positioning, very laid back style, and now he's going to have a lot of economy to support a very gas heavy army. But ZEST is transitioning to something that is starting to get a little bit too risky for Rogue, I feel.
Yeah.
We have not seen the Robo Bay you were talking about, which I do feel like you was probably the best choice possible. But it's still a very scary army, the one that ZEST has.
Well, if it isn't going to be Disruptors, at the very least, I think he should get some High Templars to storm the Corruptors. But even that, he doesn't have any High Templars with Storm. I don't even research Storm. Yeah, he didn't even research Storm, so I don't know. This is going to be a little bit tricky here, but there's not a lot here on the ground for Rogue, so that might be able to help out ZEST here. But here we go, a huge engagement here at the 4th base.
So much damage being dealt by these Void Rays carriers. Then back behind those Archons, tanking up all of the damage, as well as the Immortals. Finally, the last few Zealots are being dealt with, but these Corrosive Vials are not connecting with enough units. The Archons still pretty safely holding the line for ZEST. Rogue trying to replenish his forces, but 13 more Corruptors are not gonna do much against these many Zealots. Archons on the ground, still alive. And man, I do really feel like ZEST completely outsmarted his opponent this time.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be a tough Protoss army to clean up here. Rogue trying to make more Roaches and Ravagers, but it's not gonna help against the Void Rays and the carriers. And it seems like this might just be it.
Yeah, he's holding the line with his very skin right now. Like, these Corruptors are not winning the fight against Void Rays. That's absolutely crazy. Like, 5 Void Rays just killed 13 Corruptors, by the way. I'm really sorry for Enki. He's having a lot of problems.
Yeah, unfortunately. Hopefully it'll go better next time. Especially since this is like potentially the last game if ZEST does end up winning. But Akontistes says, I'm gonna ask you something. There are a variety of cheeses. There are American cheese, there are Swiss cheese, there are mozzarella cheese, but I'd say a Rogue cheese is pretty good.
Well, technically, considering the color, this is blue cheese. Technically. Oh, there's a forge incoming for ZEST. Oh my goodness. Okay, you cancel that for a Cybercore. I mean, did he need it to do that?
Nah, I think
Oh, the drone.
Oh.
Well, you know better about those defenses than me. Okay, I might be the cheesiest Zerg that ever existed, but I do know that a forge completely shuts down most of my cheeses.
Yeah, I think ZEST wasn't quite sure if this was like full-on committed, but I think once he scouted the hatchery at the natural, he's like, okay, this isn't quite like a all-in, like super committed. So he just canceled his forge and gone for the cybernetic core, feeling that he could safely be able to get the adepts out in time. And he's right. He wasn't facing against a all-out like cheese here, and it wasn't like a drone pull as well, like, you know, and it wasn't with gas or anything. So yeah, I think ZEST did make the right call canceling that forge, because that forge, if he has made that forge, it would have been kind of useless, and it would have been setting him a little bit behind, because that 150 minerals, you know, could have been used into like the faster nexus, or again, it's the cybernetic core. So yeah, I think it was the right call.
All these players down basically will slow down the Nexus, but even then, like, ZEST right now is 2 adepts in the natural of Rogue, and that is going to mean it's not gonna mine anytime soon from here. And that is more than enough for ZEST to actually pretty much even the tides. Beautiful defense by ZEST, beautiful answer. Rogue forced into units, not making many drones right now, not mining from his natural, and the Nexus on ZEST's side of the map is about to finish, which is completely tying this right now, really. Not a way to say it.
Yeah, that's
a lot of lanes that are not really useful.
Yeah, especially since, you know, this is a 12 pool, so he was kind of behind in the drone count to start off with. So forcing this many lanes, this is actually might be almost game ending if he does not get any damage done with these links, and it doesn't seem like he will, because these adepts and Zealot is retreating back home, and there's going to be a complete wall there. There's not a lot that the links can do.
Yeah, and it's going to be most likely Resonating Glaives coming very soon.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Here it is. And speed is not even done yet. There's no sign of a Roach Warren ever coming up in a possibly next 3 minutes, because Rogue just doesn't have the gas to support that. It doesn't have enough drones to support that. It does not have enough links to support the defense. He needs a couple spine crawlers, and he's gonna be insanely behind, even if he holds against this.
Yeah, and look at the bases.
Yeah, this Roach Warren is good for this defense, but Rogue is still going to be behind after the defense. Dark Shrine.
Oh man, this is gonna be so ugly for Rogue. Not only does he have to defend against the Glaive Adepts, but he's gonna have to defend against the DTs, and that means extra drones for Spore Crawlers, because that lair is gonna be quite a ways done. Actually, he cancels the lair, so he is gonna have to rely on these Spore Crawlers if he does suspect the DTs. He might just kind of skip the spores in order to get enough units to defend against these glaives, but the follow-up DTs might just be the checkmate move there.
Yeah, and the brain size of ZEST is just astounding right now. Like, I think he intentionally showed the Adepts to make Rogue forfeit a lair, so that his Dark Temple play will be the real blow dealt to Rogue. And now these Adepts are still going to deal damage. They will not deal enough damage because there's going to be Roaches, going to be Ravagers. There's still a lot of lanes out already. Not a lot of workers, yes, but like ZEST does not need to kill workers exactly for this reason. And now, 3 Dark Templars. What is Rogue going to do about it?
Yeah, I don't see this hatchery surviving. It looks like Rogue is going to go ahead and try to save it, but again, no detection, and GG, ZEST is going to take a dominating 3-0 series.